It's okay? Yeah, sure. Nothing on you?
No.
Okay.
You got some blood drops on your shoes.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was the exact moment officers realized this young mother might have something to do with her son's disappearance. Just 4 hours earlier, 4-year-old Ariel Garcia was reported missing.
Took him with another lady. That's where my son fell.
Who's the friend that you left it with?
I don't have her information.
Nothing.
When officers first located her at a rehab facility, she was completely unable to say where her son was.
Oh, well, that's not gonna cut it. We gotta figure out where he's at.
But what the officers didn't know, her son was already long gone. And what they were about to uncover would reveal one of the most disturbing child murders the state of Washington has ever seen.
She was always off the wall, kind of crazy. And her mom went to her house and saw blood.
She's got some specks on her shirt, she's got blood on her shoes. She's not really making sense.
It all started on March 27th, 2024. In the early morning hours, a panic call comes in to the 911 dispatch center in Everett, Washington.
911, what's the address of the emergency?
It was Belfer, close to the 44th and Everett. It was an apartment complex. There's a missing child with his mother. His mother is most likely on drugs. I'm not supposed to be with her. In the apartment, there's a big blood stain, and then the mom is missing with her child, and we were afraid that she did something to him, and she disappeared.
The callers on the line are the aunt and grandmother of 4-year-old Ariel Garcia. Ariel's aunt tells the dispatch that Ariel's mother, Janet, is missing with her son after she was legally removed as his legal guardian yesterday. They don't say exactly what happened, only that something feels wrong.
Okay, so you said there was a mom there with a child?
She is missing with her child. She was there. She was not supposed to be with her child. She had a stay-away order because she is on drugs and she is a danger to her child. It was issued by the court yesterday. We were trying to serve her the papers, but we found nothing.
Ariel was legally assigned to his grandmother as his guardian, since the court decided his mom represents a threat to the child's safety. The grandmother last saw them 2 days ago. They revealed that Janet apparently told her neighbors that her son was at the hospital, and Janet's sister told them that she was going to give Ariel for adoption.
Because she has a history of being unstable. There was a lot of police reports on her this past weekend. She was very aggressive and violent.
Do you have an explanation for the blood?
Jeanette said that the kid fell, but it is a big blood stain for that to be true.
Following this call, Everett police immediately activate missing child protocol. Officers canvass the neighborhood, knocking on doors and reviewing surveillance. Neighbors describe Janet acting erratically the night before, pacing, yelling, slamming doors. But no one saw Ariel that morning. In the meantime, Janet is nowhere to be found. Her phone is pinging miles away from the apartment. 4 hours later, they managed to locate her at a rehab facility in Ridgefield, Washington.
How you doing?
Yeah.
It's okay? Yeah, sure. Nothing on you?
No.
Okay.
You guys give us some privacy. Hey, so...
Nothing in your bra. Are you okay?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It starts like any other welfare check, but within minutes, something feels off. Janet Garcia doesn't ask why the officers are here. She's not surprised. She's not panicked.
So, I...
You got some blood drops on your shoes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my son fell this morning earlier.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so, but I was able to take him to the doctors and everything was okay.
The first clue is subtle, but damning. Blood droplets. Janet doesn't flinch when it's mentioned. Instead, she begins talking about her son. She claims he fell and she took him to get checked, that he's okay, but there's no urgency.
Took him with another lady so she can watch him for me because I wasn't staying at home. I had problems going on with my parents and they didn't let me in the house. So I was staying with another lady. She was super sweet. That's where my son fell. And then but we left. So I was like, okay, so
Janet says she left him with someone else, a super sweet woman, but she doesn't provide the officers with her address or contact. She admits to struggling with alcoholism and says she plans to enter rehab. In the meantime, she asked the woman if she could care for her son for the next 12 months during her rehab time.
Well, we just We want to make sure that he's safe and know where he is. Who's the friend that you left it with?
I left him with another lady. I don't have her information.
Oh, well, that's not gonna cut it. We got to figure out where he's at. Where can you like tell me the location where somebody could go and check on him and make sure he's okay?
The officer remains firm, pressing Janet for details about the mysterious woman she claims to have left Ariel with. When asked for a location, Janet insists the woman is somewhere in Seattle, but she can't provide an exact address.
I don't have an address.
Nothing. Who's the friend? How do you know the person that? How did you pick the person?
She's a longtime friend that I know.
Okay, what's her name?
That's all I know.
Okay, and you've known her.
Number or anything?
Okay, but you've known her for a long time.
She explains that she reached out to her via Facebook, but then deleted the app afterward. She says that she first visited a doctor, then traveled from Providence to Seattle to drop Ariel off with her friend. The officers ask her which route she took, hoping to check traffic cameras and verify her story. Still, they remain skeptical of her account.
You're not
Lying.
You have a longtime friend that you reach out to leave your son with,
son.
who you obviously care about very
Of
much.
course, I love him with all my
yes,
heart.
and you're expressing how upset you are about what's going on between you and your mom and the custody of him and your older son. Like, that's horrible. So I know that you're not going to go leave your son with somebody and you don't know where he is.
Yeah, no.
So you do know where he is.
No, I know where he is. I know where he's at.
Tell me where he's at.
I don't have the address for him.
She continues to insist that she doesn't remember the exact location where she dropped off her son. Eventually, she takes out her phone and, seemingly at random, provides the officers with an address she recalls off the top of her head.
Yeah.
So that's where you remember leaving him.
So yeah, that's her
Okay.
name.
Yeah.
So and if you guys can't find him or whatever, this is where I'm going to be for the next 12 months. But I mean, he's there.
They check in.
How did you guys discuss that you're obviously gonna communicate with him still? You want to check on him,
Right.
and all that. How are you guys gonna communicate?
Janet insists she won't have access to a phone while in rehab and isn't sure how she'll stay in touch with her son. The only thing she seems certain about is that, after 12 months, she'll get him back. The officer's doubts about her honesty are only growing stronger by the minute.
Tell me about your alcoholism. How long have you been dealing with that?
I've been drinking alcohol.
Or if you don't mind telling me, you don't
Yeah,
have
it's
to tell me.
okay.
It's not
I've been
my
here.
business,
This is like my third. Okay, I've been here like this is like my third year here.
okay.
So I did 11 months in recovery because I was never like an alcoholic. I was more like of a drug user. So the only drug I ever used was meth.
Yeah.
And just like that, the focus shifts. Janet begins to talk about her addiction, not to offer answers about Ariel's disappearance, but to justify her own struggles. She admits she's been using drugs for more than 4 years. She's tried to get clean before, she says, but now she finds herself back in rehab once again. Following this, the officer asks her again about her son.
Well, I just want to figure out where your son is. Obviously, there was some concerns, and once we
Yeah.
can do that, his injury was pretty bad. Yeah, was there quite a bit of blood and stuff? What did he do?
He jumped from the bed that we were sleeping on to the ground, and then he just got blood on his head, and so I had him taken to the doctor, and so he's doing good.
Okay.
A head injury. Despite the amount, Janet insists that Ariel is fine now. He was taken to the hospital and treated for the wound. According to Janet, he hit his head on the ground around 10 in the morning.
What happened to him when he fell?
Nothing. He just cried.
Just cried?
Mm-hmm.
Just
Just like, just like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The officers escort her to the police car, where she takes a seat and the questioning continues.
You said it took you 2 hours to get from Providence to your friend's house. Do you remember when you walked in? Like, can you describe to me when you walked in what it looked like?
Just the hospital. Just the hospital.
Okay, you didn't remember where his injury was? Is it front, side, back? Do you remember?
It's the side. It was the side.
Definitely one of the sides that you recall?
The front, yeah.
Okay.
The injury was located on the side of Ariel's head, but when pressed to describe the hospital where she took him, Janet claims she can't recall much, offering only a vague description. Then, she pulls out her phone and shows investigators the number of the woman with whom she says she left Ariel.
Did you send her any text messages? Okay.
I don't think she's gonna answer
How come? What makes you think that?
because I don't know if she's still gonna be there.
Can I ask who you're messaging with?
Yeah, my sister. I was just talking to her about her flying out here,
Oh, nice. Where does she live?
California.
Oh, okay.
The officers then step aside for a brief conversation. They discuss the possibility of arresting her, citing her inconsistent stories and the bloodstains as major concerns.
Yeah, can you make sure she's good? I might just take her phone. She's got some specks on her shirt. She's got blood on her shoes. She's not really making sense.
She then asks the officers what will happen if they can't find her son. The officers reassure her, saying there's no need to worry as long as Ariel is at the address she provided. But until they locate him, she must remain with them.
So, if you guys don't locate my son, what's gonna happen?
That's what we're working on at the moment.
Why do you think they won't be able to locate him? I mean, if you got the address to where he can be.
I don't know. I'm just saying, if you guys are not able to find him, what can happen?
What it's looking like right now is that we're gonna need to stay with you until we find him, because it sounds like you said you know where he is, you know where you left him,
Right.
so it shouldn't be an issue, right? Should be able to locate him.
For the first time, Janet appears to show a flicker of concern. But it's not about her missing son, it's about what might happen to her. Sensing an opportunity to probe deeper, the officers suggest taking her down to the station for a more in-depth conversation. At first, Janet hesitates. But when one of the officers casually mentions that there will be coffee at the station, she agrees to go.
Because it's raining and it's cold and I'm shivering, and we're gonna be with you, I think, for a little bit. Are you listening to me?
Yeah.
We're gonna be with you for a little bit. Would you mind? We have a precinct right up the road. It's comfortable and dry that we can all sit in so we can chat. So we're all out of the rain. Would that be okay?
Can I get a coffee from here before we go?
We got coffee there.
We have coffee.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah,
let's
we got
go.
coffee.
We can give you coffee.
They then escort Janet to the station for further questioning. Meanwhile, body cam footage from another first responder captures staff and residents at the rehab center describing Janet and her behavior.
You know her. So,
I do.
did you chat with her today or anything?
Just when I pulled up, I saw her,
Okay.
and I said, "What are you doing back?" And she said she's trying to get sober again.
Okay.
And she just kind of looked washed up, And I said, "Well, be good and listen." That's what I told her.
The man explains that she had been at the center before and, for a while, had actually managed to stay sober. But this time, something seemed off. She didn't look like her usual self. She appeared tense, distant, and clearly in a bad mood. Officer then asks him how many times she's been admitted to the center in total, and whether he can recall how she arrived today, or if anyone came with her.
She was here.
Okay.
She's been here like 4 or 5 times.
Okay,
She's just
but not since last fall.
no. I don't know how she showed up. You said that she might have took an Uber or something.
Yeah, and then they came, and then she hid. So,
But you didn't see no car drop her off or anything.
no, she got dropped off up there.
When you say they, you mean us?
Yeah.
He tells the officer that during the earlier welfare check, Janet immediately ran and hid the moment she saw the police approaching. What's more, he's nearly certain she didn't arrive by bus, as she claims. Instead, he insists he saw her being dropped off in a black car.
We don't charge nobody. And
Yeah.
Stay sober, stay within the guidelines, and it was just never that way with her. So
Okay.
her mom's dropped her off a bunch of times, and all I know is she's just kind of problematic.
How?
That like when she was here, she wouldn't really listen. She'd get in arguments with other women that were here. Her sponsor would tell her to do things, and she wouldn't do them.
Yeah.
He says that she repeatedly disobeyed the rules while staying at the rehab center, often becoming aggressive and violent. Staff members claim that today she arrived carrying only a purse. The officer then begins speaking with one of the men who manages the facility.
So I know the deputy on the phone kind of talked to you, but did you see her get here?
I didn't see her get here, no. She's been here before.
Okay.
But, like I told the other deputy, she left, and we told her mom to find her, like a psychiatrist, because her problem is just, it was beyond just drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
Janet's mother, Maria, followed the advice of the rehab center staff and urgently requested psychiatric help for her daughter. To understand the collapse of this story, we need to look back. 33 days before Ariel's disappearance, his grandmother took legal action. It was March 25th, 2024. Ariel's grandmother petitioned for emergency guardianship, citing her daughter Janet's violent and unpredictable behavior and a worsening pattern of drug and alcohol abuse. Those words carry weight. A parent of a 4-year-old, described as unable to safely care for him. The petition outlined months of concern, including leaving Ariel unsupervised, dragging her older child downstairs, and taking Ariel to a bar while intoxicated. This was no isolated moment. The legal paperwork included requests for a restraining order, drug treatment, and psychiatric evaluation, indicating family members believed Janet was on the verge of losing control. According to court records and interviews with family, Janet's substance use had spiraled in the weeks leading up to March 25th. Her mother reported she was leaving for days without notice, returning intoxicated, often causing minor injuries to Ariel and her older son. The grandmother's affidavit stated Ariel had no adequate supervision, clothing, or food during these periods. Friends corroborated this. One described Janet as very violent and aggressive, pacing outside barefoot in the rain, shouting incoherently. Another noted Janet had been seen dragging her older child down a hallway, an image that haunted those who witnessed it. So, on March 25th, the court ordered Janet to undergo drug treatment, psychiatric help, and to surrender any tax refund money for the care of her children. But Janet remained with Ariel, forcing experts to wonder why the court's orders hadn't been enforced immediately. In her affidavit, Janet's mother wrote, "I want to protect him from whatever his mom is capable of when she is on drugs. She has become very violent and unpredictable." She also stated that Ariel didn't want to be around his mom. These quotes are chilling, a vivid snapshot of fear inside the family. By examining the family court records, police evidence, and witness testimony, a portrait emerges, a mother whose drug use and aggression put her children at risk. CPS had reportedly been involved, but no long-term removal occurred. The grandmother stepped in, but was it too late? That question sets the tone for what came next. Not speculation, but fact-based scrutiny. The background is not the whole story, but it reveals why detectives began to look at Janet not just as a suspect, but as the architect of a profound tragedy. Back at the station, Janet is finally given the coffee she was promised, along with a few cupcakes. Meanwhile, a detective meticulously reviews her call history, piecing together the web of people she contacted that day. After some time, Janet is informed that she will be spending the night in jail.
So I think Tanya, Detective Johnson, had told you that you're going to go to jail tonight. Okay. I want to take a picture of your hands because you had said you had hurt your nail or broke your nail or something. So I want to get a good picture. Which one were you talking about? Okay. Turn over that. Yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
She is then put in the handcuffs and taken to jail. At the rehab center, other officers questioned staff members who had known Janet previously. During these interviews, they learned that Janet had recently cut her hair very short.
Saw her today and she looked pretty out of it. I mean, she had her haircut, you know, like Britney Spears kind of thing, went crazy because she used to have like long, big black hair, you know. And Daniel told me that her mom was calling because they can't find her son. And her mom went to her house and saw blood.
He explains that Janet's behavior was nothing like the person he once knew. Normally, she was bubbly and outgoing, always the loudest in the room. But today she seemed distant, quietly keeping to herself, hands stuffed in her pockets, a shadow of her usual self.
Last time she was here, she fought with one of the women here.
Okay.
She's kind of just problematic, you know. We try to help people, but there's just a certain point where we can't help people and you gotta go.
It's more disruptive than
Exactly.
productive. Okay. Was she, do you know if she was being disruptive today or causing any issues?
That's what I mean. It was kind of drastically different. She just kind of quiet and went, sat in the chair and didn't talk to nobody.
Okay.
As the night falls, investigators are left with nothing but unanswered questions. Not a single lead points to Ariel's whereabouts. The only thing that's become clear is this: Janet knows more than she's letting on about her son's disappearance. Police managed to obtain security footage from the Three Peaks parking lot, capturing the moment Janet parked her car before leaving the area on foot.
Security video from the bar shows a woman who appears to be the suspect pull into the parking lot around 3:45. A few minutes later, she gets out of her car and starts walking north.
The next day, on March 28, 2024, police cruisers idle at intersections, search dogs bark in the chilly morning air, and volunteers begin to gather in clusters, clutching flyers bearing Ariel's face. At 7 a.m., inside the Everett Police Department's hastily assembled command post, maps and printouts line the walls. The whiteboard is a maze of arrows, times, and names, an evolving, desperate blueprint. Law enforcement officers from neighboring counties, the FBI, and Washington State Patrol all check in. Search teams spread outward from Janet's last known locations, along Evergreen Way, through the underbrush near the apartment complex, and deep into city parks. K-9 units sniff at discarded clothing, and volunteers in neon vests call Ariel's name into the early morning fog. Officers knock on doors, waking neighbors, piecing together the faintest threads of Janet's possible route out of Everett. Meanwhile, Janet Garcia remains held in Clark County, subject to hours of questioning. Her statements, police note, have only grown more contradictory. One moment she claims to have left Ariel with a friend, the next she says he was asleep on the floor, and in the next, she claims to not remember anything. Investigators piece together a timeline using security camera footage, traffic camera logs, and cell phone pings. But gaps persist. Frustration grows. Following this, the first press conference of the day begins. Chief McCloy faces the media, delivering an update that Ariel Garcia still remains missing. In homes across Everett, parents keep their children close. Social media explodes with calls for help, tips, rumors, and prayers. By early afternoon, the investigation is at full tilt. Detective teams crisscross the city, chasing any thread, checking dumpsters, storm drains, abandoned buildings, and remote roadways. One group of officers follows a tip to a wooded lot near the city limits. Another searches beneath highway overpasses. The scale is enormous. More than 100 law enforcement and civilian volunteers engaged in the search, coordinated by walkie-talkie and text message. Still, as the hours pass, a grim certainty begins to settle in. Each minute that Ariel remains missing erodes the hope for a safe return. Inside the command center, tension is palpable. They know that in cases like this, every second counts, and they're afraid they might already be too late. Not long after, a Washington State Department of Transportation worker on a routine patrol south of Mount Vista near I-5 pulls his vehicle to the shoulder. There, partly hidden in brush just off the highway, is something that shouldn't be there. The worker's hands shake as he calls it in. Within minutes, the lonely patch of roadside is awash in blue and red lights. Police descend on the scene. Yellow tape cordons off the area as forensics teams set up their equipment. Each movement is methodical, photographing the body from every angle, collecting fibers, and documenting shoe prints in the mud. The preliminary report is chilling. Investigators allege he had been stabbed over 16 times, including wounds to the front and upper back. The search, at last, is over.
That it is a tragic ending to the search for a missing 4-year-old boy out of Everett. Police say they believe they have found the body of Ariel Garcia, pictured here. They say he found him just before 6 o'clock tonight.
It is extremely tragic, and Everett police say he did disappear from this stretch of Vesper Drive. You can see there are a lot of apartments along here, and police were searching since early Wednesday. Unfortunately, just before 6 p.m., someone reported that they had found a body outside of Everett tonight, and sadly, it turned out to be that of the 4-year-old.
Forensics experts comb the scene for hours. As the community learns the truth, memorials spring up at the apartment and along the I-5 shoulder. A crowd gathers in stunned silence. Some parents can't bear to look. Others bring their children, holding them tight. At the next police press conference, there are no optimistic words, only confirmation that the case is now a murder investigation and that Janet Garcia remains in custody. Ariel's family is devastated as the tragic news spreads, but no one is more heartbroken than his grandmother. In court, When she pleaded to be named his legal guardian, she had warned that something terrible might happen to him. Now, her fears have become a painful reality. In the court, she said, "I want to protect him from whatever his mom is capable of when she is on drugs. She has become very violent and unpredictable. Ariel has told me he does not want to be around his mom." The judge ordered the court to assign Ariel to his grandmother, but it was too late. Court records and later police reports indicate that Janet never appeared for her scheduled hearings and could not be reached at her known address. Some say the court's process server was unable to find her before Ariel's disappearance. Others believe confusion between Snohomish County agencies and CPS left the order floating in administrative limbo. It is never made clear, even after the tragedy, why Janet was not separated from Ariel in time. Ariel's grandmother also said that she repeatedly drove to Janet's apartment. "I was banging on the door. I could hear Ariel crying, but Janet wouldn't open." As the trial begins, the court documents tell the story in precise clinical detail. The prosecution alleges that Janet, in an act both violent and premeditated, killed Ariel in her Everett apartment, wrapped his body in a blanket, and drove south to Ridgefield, where she abandoned him. Evidence includes DNA matches from bloodstains on her clothes and boots, surveillance footage of her movements after the crime, and forensic links between items found in her home. At Janet's first court appearance, the courtroom is packed. Family members sit in the first row, still unable to process the tragedy. The district attorney describes Janet's actions as calculated and cold, arguing that her motive may have been to prevent Ariel from being taken away by the state.
The reason for the requested bail is obviously the demonstrated violence that Ms. Garcia showed towards an extraordinarily vulnerable victim.
The judge sets bail at $5 million. Janet's public defender then enters a plea of not guilty.
Today in Everett, Janet Garcia faced a judge and entered a not guilty plea in the murder of her own son, 4-year-old Ariel.
In the weeks that follow, the defense signals its strategy: mental health. Motions are filed for psychiatric evaluation. Sealed court records indicated prior diagnoses and possible inpatient stays, though the details remain confidential. Early statements reference psychological instability and the possibility of an insanity defense. The prosecution pushes back, citing Janet's attempts to mislead investigators and hide evidence as proof of premeditation. The pre-trial hearings turn out to be contentious. Prosecutors introduce more evidence: phone records, Google searches, and even texts sent from Janet to relatives in the hours after Ariel vanished. The defense called for evidence to be suppressed, arguing improper collection and Janet's fragile mental state. In late April, a new round of hearings focused on Janet's fitness to stand trial. Psychologists testify in closed sessions. The judge rules that the case will move forward, with Janet to remain behind bars. No trial date is set, but the momentum is clear. For Everett, the trial would be more than a verdict. It would be a test of faith in the institutions meant to protect its children. The case, still ongoing, remains a flashpoint for grief, outrage, and soul-searching, not just in Everett, but across the state. For the family and community, there is only the hope that what failed for Ariel will not fail for another child.